Hello, everyone, and welcome to HealthMatters with Ellison Makawani. I'm your host, Ellison. As a medical laboratory scientist, I spent years behind the scenes, working with doctors every day, testing samples, releasing results, which are used to make major decisions and life-changing decisions for patients. But behind every sample and behind every result and every patient is a story that deserves to be heard. This season in particular is very personal for me. I recently lost my dad, but before he died, he had been sick for quite some time, and that for the first time gave me a front row seat to illness, to what being a patient means, to the hopes, to the aspirations that people have when their loved ones are sick. And it inspired me to start this season, which I will name the Survivor Season. In the Survivor Season, we talk to incredible people who have battled disease, who are battling disease, who have recovered, or still going through the process of the disease, and we try to understand their story. Because behind every statistic, behind every sample, behind every patient is a real story, is a family that has hope, is a family that is praying, is fierce, is uncertainty. And those are the stories we want to talk about, because from each and every story, we're able to inspire hope, we're able to inspire other people to seek help early, and we are definitely working together towards the recovery. This is Health Matters, and this is the Survivor Season. Lucia, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. How are you doing today?
Well, I'm fantastic. It's a pleasure to be having you on the show, and it's a great coincidence how we met, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, it's a good story.
So, Lucia Boboto, let's talk about before the diagnosis. Tell me, who is Lucia?
Well, Lucia is post-diagnosis, you're still trying to figure yourself out, so you can't quite remember who you were. But I am a creative strategist by profession. I started off as an accountant, and I am passionate about not saving, because that makes me sound like Superman, but I'm passionate about humanity, just trying to make the world a better place. Yeah, so I think in brief, that's me.
Okay. And getting into accounting, that was like your calling and your field?
Not at all. I went to university at 16. So I was just trying to get into university not at 16, at 17 actually.
Wow.
I completed my O-levels. We had to move countries, and then my parents were like, go to university. And then I just thought accounting. Went for accounting. Bored out of my mind all the time.
Early bloomer.
Not quite, but yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. But let's go back to the beginning.
Right.
When did you notice that something wasn't right?
I was doing my early checks because, when you're now aware that there's something like breast cancer, you try and do your checks frequently. So I was doing my self-checks one random day after like 6 months of not checking. And then I felt a lump. But I was like, could it be? High chances or not. And then I just ignored it. And then a couple of months later, I checked again. And that's when the lumps felt like they had grown. They had increased in size. I think they were now 2 lumps. I was like, maybe I should get this checked. And then I went to the doctor and got it checked.
So that's when you finally made the decision to say, let me up and go.
Yeah, I think it scared me more because I was like, 2, the next time if there are more, that means something is definitely happening.
So at this point, are you in Zimbabwe or
where
are you?
I'm in Namibia. So I lived in Namibia, yeah.
Okay.
For like a long time. So I was diagnosed in Namibia, got my treatment in Namibia, and then came home after.
Okay. And looking at this phase, the self-testing phase, the self-check, do you wish you had done anything differently? Do you wish you had responded to the first lump?
I wish I had, but also I'm not too sure how much of a difference it would have made. Because it was a 2-month separation, maybe 2.5 months. Okay. So I'm not sure how much of a difference it would have made. But the first time I really thought to myself, if I had, gone and gotten checked, then maybe my treatment would have been less invasive. Maybe I would have had to have less treatment instead of the intensive treatment that I had. So at first, I was a bit guilty. But now I'm not too worried about it.
And let's get to the day you receive your diagnosis. So I'm a medical lab scientist.
Okay.
So basically, we do the diagnosis. doctors give us samples,
Uh-huh.
we do the diagnosis, we give them the reports, and in my life, it's always been the reports, the samples, the statistics, and meeting somebody who's received a diagnosis from someone similar to me
Yeah.
is actually quite interesting. So tell me, this is the day you receive the diagnosis. You get your report. The doctor tells you that you've got breast cancer.
Yeah, first of all, it's so cool that we're speaking like you are you give the diagnosis and I'm the diagnosed. That's
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah, so I was at a public hospital and state hospital, and they only give the results of your biopsies every Friday. So I went there. I went with my husband, and I wasn't too sure if we were allowed to go in together because sometimes state is not the friendliest. But I went in alone, and then it was a dark room. I don't know why it was dark. I keep trying to figure out why it was dark, but it was a dark room. And the doctor just sat there, and she's like, "Oh, yeah, I've got your paper, and you have cancer." My heart dropped to my feet. I cannot explain the emptiness that rushed through me, because even though I'd gone through all of this, I didn't expect to hear that. I thought I would go through this and then they'll be like, "Oh, no, it was a false."
You still had hope.
Exactly. I still had hope. That's a
still
good
had
way to
hope.
put it. So now this was like all the testing and everything has come to this. I just felt so empty. I cried. The doctor panicked and she's like, "Do you have anyone with you? Do you have anyone at home?" And then my husband came in for me. But yeah, that's how it went.
And how long did you have to wait for the biopsy results?
I think I waited 2 weeks. 2 weeks. It was, yeah, from on the hospital side of things went very fast. All the delay was on my account from going, because initially I went for a sauna first before the
Okay.
biopsy to check and see if there's any activity in the lump. And then from there I had to go for the biopsy and then the process. So I delayed with that. But in terms of like the state side, the medical side, it was 2 weeks for the biopsy, and then the day I got my diagnosis was a Friday, and then I started chemo on Tuesday.
Tell me about waiting for results. I mean, waiting for O-level results is, it's difficult. Waiting for A-level results, waiting for the World Cup results is,
Yeah.
Tell me about waiting for a life-changing result like that.
Yeah, it can be gruesome, eh? Just the waiting, it's quite toll, takes a toll on you. But I have this thing. I give myself a few minutes to think about it, and then I have this superpower where I just brush something out of my mind. So I just thought, I didn't think about it until the morning I had to go get my results. That's when I was like, "Oh yeah, I've got test results." But I tried to push it out of my mind.
Okay, and you get the diagnosis. What's the biggest fear that crossed your mind that time?
What was my biggest fear? I think the effects of like treatment, because the picture of, I don't know whether I should say this now, but my dad also had breast cancer. So by the time I was diagnosed, I kind of had a story that, if you do get your treatment in time and everything, things will work out well. But I was still scared of like the effects of treatment on my body. For example, surgery, mastectomy. I remember that was a very dark time for me. So it was just wrapping my head around, who will I be post-treatment? Will I still be the same person? Will I still have the same opportunities? I think fear of the future, maybe, if we can say. Yeah.
Okay, so you talk about your dad getting breast cancer.
Yeah.
And that's a very uncomfortable conversation for men in this part of the hemisphere.
Yeah.
There's this belief that breast cancer is for women, and even the way the commemorations are done, Pinktober, it's all channeled to women.
True.
So your dad had breast cancer. Tell me about that, him finding out.
Right. Okay, his story to finding out is more of my why I've also kind of gone into advocacy, because he was checking up on one of his friends who they hadn't seen each other in a while. He called him, asks how he's doing, and his friend is like, Itai, I'm in the hospital, I've got liver cancer. And the friend is like, just make sure you stay up to date with your checks, giving some motivation. And my dad is like obsessive with stuff. So when he heard cancer, he just went online and read everything about cancer. weirdly enough, 8 months later, he had like a little lump also on his left breast. And he went to the hospitals to get it checked. And they were like, it's nothing, because they did a biopsy. They were like, it's nothing. Then he came back. But because of everything that he had read, he knew that something was up. So he went back to the hospital and he was like, first of all, the wound where you guys cut me isn't healing. And secondly, you really need to take this seriously because I have read this, and this. So, and then he got a second biopsy done and it confirmed that it was cancer. But it's like a chain of awareness from his friend making him aware to me becoming aware through my dad. Yeah.
And you know, you talk about your dad going back to the hospital, explaining that he's read things. And I think that's a bone of contention these days where, as a clinician, you've gone to school and you've experienced, and someone has gone to University of ChatGPT, and they also know what they know. And sometimes they're right. And I think it's opened up another world where, you know, someone, before they come to the labs, they come to the hospital, they already know what they should get.
Yeah.
It's so different from before in the day when, you know, healthcare workers, doctors, nurses were gods who knew everything.
Yeah.
Now you're dealing with people who know exactly what they want. But judging from what you say, it seems like your dad having knowledge actually helped him get treatment earlier.
Yeah. It's weird that it's a bone of contention though, because you have to tell me why medical people don't like us finding out, because I'm a proud graduate from the University of ChatGPT. So why do you guys front whenever we like come and I'm like, I read this online or I read this on Google and it's dismissed?
It's well, I'll speak for myself, not for everyone. It's not dismissing really, but then a lot of the work we do is evidence-based. Okay. So I just can't give a conclusion before we've done the evidence. So that's where, you know, we need to do the labs, we need to do the x-rays, we need to have the pharmacists involved, then we can tell you. So even if you go to the hospital and they can see that you're suffering from this, they still test you. So it's a bit, you know.
But it makes sense. Okay, it's fair. I mean, that it feels like that's the best way to care for people instead of just jumping to.
But we digress.
We do.
Back to you. Enough of dad. I got the dad is still around.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
He's a survivor too.
He is. He's in the advocacy space as well. So that's amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So back to you. You received this diagnosis. Who's the first person you call?
My mom.
What's the conversation like?
It's heavy because remember, she's just been through this with my dad. So I'm calling her just to let her know that I've gone through the tests and this is what's happened. Like, these are the results. She was shaken. But yeah, my mom is, you know, old school moms. They just get shaken and they're like, but we can do this. So she was shaken for a bit, but she was like, you got this. So that was my first call. Yeah.
Okay. And I guess we then walk into the treatment now.
Yeah, now we're walking into treatment.
What a journey. Let's talk about that.
Whew. Let's, should we go through it or should we just pick parts up?
You're my guest.
Okay, so from diagnosis, the next thing was consultation with the doctor. The following Monday, the doctor says to me, go and eat everything you want to eat, because from tomorrow things are not going to be so pretty and cute for you. So yeah, I go from there, but of course you can't eat everything you want to eat because you're really panicking. But also remember, I have my dad's story, so I'm like, I got this, I can do this. I go into chemo on Tuesday. I don't think I was prepared, first of all, for how long you have to wait. And it's dumb of me not to have been ready because it's state, so I should know that I have to wait. But that was the first time I just thought, this is going to be a long journey. So I waited, and then my first consultation, I see the doctor, and immediately after chemo, all the bravado I had, all the courage I had, gone. I was like, it's late for me. There's no way I'm walking through this. But I get through my 8 cycles of chemo. I went through 8 cycles of chemo. And then I did surgery, radiation. And because the specific kind of breast cancer I had was HER2 positive, I had to get targeted therapy afterwards. Okay. So that was about another 9 to 12 cycles of infusion. And then, yeah, I was done.
That's a journey.
Yeah,
that's a journey. But I want to know more about the journey because... Okay. you were going to a state hospital.
Yeah.
So you were meeting other people with cancer.
I was.
Let's talk about I don't know if it's the empathy or the power in numbers or the weakness in numbers. You're sitting on the benches. You're waiting for your chemo. You're seeing someone coming out of chemo. It doesn't look nice.
Yeah, you can tell.
And you make friends along the way, I guess.
Yeah.
Let's talk about you and the people you met.
Okay. My first few cycles, I was very closed off. I literally felt my face, I think, on the third or fourth cycle when I was walking into treatment center, and I could finally smile. The first two cycles, I was really just closed off. I didn't want to talk to anyone. But as time goes on, you get used to people who you see all the time because you have the same schedule to go for treatment. And the first, I don't know if it's an interaction, but the first time there's this man who was there. I think he had blood cancer, some sort of blood cancer. And we always went at the same time. And then it had been 2 treatment sessions that I hadn't seen him. So I asked the nurse what happened to him. And she was like, he was walking out of his car, he fell, and he passed away. I was like, what do you mean? Oh. So the first every time I think of patients in the treatment center, that's what I think of. But there were also happy conversations along the way. I remember this lady who I met one time. There's something about cancer patients, survivors, and oversharing. We overshare I don't know, it's going out of fashion.
I mean, so, you've gotten a second chance.
So. Fair enough. Fair enough. So I met her in the session, and she just starts, how X-rated are we? Okay, we'll figure it out.
Keep it cool.
So she just starts going on about, I'm not sleeping with anyone. These doctors think I'm pregnant. She goes deep into her life, her sexual life with me. It's been how many years? It's been this. It hadn't even been 5 minutes since I met that lady. But also I had the space to have this conversation with her because I knew that probably she had no one else to talk to. When you're in the cancer center, you're with people who understand exactly what you're going through. So there's that. There was the oversharing. There was the kind people. There were nuns who always came, and they had little slices of cake because they were escorting one of their friends who was also going through chemo. So I've met so many kinds of people. But one thing that stands is how empathetic we are with each other and how much space we hold for each other as survivors and as patients.
And we're going through this. Let's talk about your emotions. Is there a time you think of giving up? Because 8 cycles, I think for the viewers, they probably don't understand how 1 cycle is. So 8 sounds like, it's just 8 weeks. No, let's talk about the emotional part.
Yeah. Remember I said the first 2 cycles, I was still so uptight. And by the 3rd cycle, I also needed to go get a CT scan. I've never had a CT scan in my life. What is that stuff that you inject before saline, is it? It just rushed through my body, and I never expected it. I went for my CT scan, got that, and I was already shaken. And then I came back to the cancer center. I had to wait for my turn. It was I went there early in the morning at 7. It was around 1 o'clock when I saw the doctor. By the time I saw the doctor, I just cried. I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. Don't make me do this. I think this route of treatment is not working for me. I'll just go home, sit it out, see how it's going to work and everything. And luckily that day, because we would exchange doctors, there were about 6 doctors who we would rotate. Luckily that day I had a very kind woman, and she was like, no, you don't have to give up, encouraged me a little bit, sent me to for therapy at the therapy department. And then she was like, take a week, 2 weeks off, come back. When I came back, I was ready to keep going.
So it's common human nature to ask yourself why you, of everybody, has been picked.
Yeah.
Of your friends, your family, your enemies.
Especially your enemies. I'm joking.
But that question comes up, I'm sure.
Yeah, it does. It really does. I think because no matter how brave you are, there are certain points where you being human manifests itself. You can't be so brave. So at times you're going to definitely ask yourself, why me? These are the times, the the third, when I had to keep going for chemotherapy, that time when I had thought that it's done for me, I did ask myself, why me? And quite a number of times through the journey as well, I asked why me, not myself. Maybe I asked God, why me? But yeah, that question does come up a lot.
So I'm guessing you're a believer?
Yes.
How does breast cancer, affect your relationship with God?
It's been, and it's still, when I first got diagnosed, how open can I be?
You're my guest.
Can I speak pre-diagnosis?
Sure.
Okay. So when I got my diagnosis, I just finished my second degree. Like I told you, I went to South Africa and I studied creative brand communication. I just finished that. But throughout my studying in SA, I was there for 3 years.
That's before you studied with ChatGPT.
That's before ChatGPT. Now 3 degrees. I'm doing great.
You're doing well.
Thank you for helping me realize that. So I got back, and that's when I had the diagnosis soon after, like, finishing school. But during my 3 years at school, I had suffered 2 miscarriages. So my mind was, even my faith was like down. I'd stopped going to church. I was like, maybe God has these favorites, people who he loves. But when I got the diagnosis, I was shaken in a way that I had nothing else to hold on to. So I had to lean back on God. Because after chemo, there are those gruesome days. You can't talk to anyone. You can't do anything. You're just literally lying on the couch, on the bed. And that's where you lean back onto God. So, yeah.
So it made you stronger.
Stronger for a time. And then I was like, but God, why me? And then weak. But then, you get back up and, yeah.
So it's been an up-down.
It's been an up-down journey, faith-wise.
Okay. And let's move away from the faith. Chemo has effects on the way you look and body image.
Yeah. Can I tell you, the most fascinating thing about that is for some reason, I would see how I look in the mirror, but I thought, maybe it's the people who are around me who didn't make a big deal out of it. But my friend, one of my best friends, stopped coming around, stopped checking in, like, I think on my 7th cycle. And then, like, months later, that's when she was like, I could not look at you anymore. You kept, like, wasting away. Every 3 weeks I saw you, you got worse and worse. That's when it dawned on me. And then I started going back through photos and videos that I took through chemo. And I was like, I had changed. No hair, darkened eyes. My nails were black. So much of me had changed.
And losing your crown for ladies it's not easy.
It's
not easy.
It's not for some ladies. Now, cancer gave me a weird attachment to my hair because now I'm growing my hair out. Before, I'd always cut my hair. I'm impatient with things like going and getting your hair done and sitting and waiting for someone. So I just figured cutting it and coloring it or something works. But after cancer, I thought, ooh, this hair is so precious. So now I'm actually growing my hair out. But losing my hair really wasn't. Maybe it was how I lost it. Because after the first session, I was scratching my head and I pulled out hair. And I kept pulling out hair. So that was a little traumatic, but the loss of hair wasn't quite traumatic.
So how old are you when everything is happening?
I am 35.
You're 35.
I'm 35. Yeah.
You have self-actualized.
Yeah. Maybe I'm self-actualizing, like in the process. Yeah.
And 35 is the economic and social peak for somebody. You're supposed to be outside.
Sana, that one there.
Everyone is outside.
Everyone is outside.
And
everyone is doing stuff. People I went to school with are working in agencies. People are getting promoted. But it's just me who's on this couch, this living room couch, every 3 weeks, unable to move, unable to do anything. Yeah, it's hard. It's really hard. And I think the hardness is not just during treatment, it's also post-treatment. I don't know if we're going to get to that. Should I get into that now or will we?
Let's take it easy. But who stands with you during this time? Because at 35, like you just mentioned, one of your friends couldn't keep coming because, people have in addition to them being also moved, they also have a lot of things to do. There's a lot of things happening. It's different from having cancer in your 50s, 60s. Your friends are freer, and the likes. Who stands by you, and how important was the support system?
It was really important. Let me start with that friend who I said stopped for a while. She was amazing throughout. And then there's my husband. My husband never missed a session. Never, ever. All the sessions. I think it was radiation where I then told him that you can stay at home and work because we actually need to eat in this house. And then I'll drive myself and come back home. But he never missed any sessions. And then 2 ladies from church. I never expected them to come through. They just came through and knocked on my door one Friday morning. I didn't even want to see people. I almost lied that I'm not at home. But after they came and we spent the day, I realized that it's actually important to have conversations with other people and you feel freer. So they just walked with me throughout the whole journey, those 2 ladies.
And now you've got a support system. How much do you think it contributed in addition to the chemo, the doctors, the healthcare system, but just having someone?
Yeah, it's important. It contributed a lot because you need someone, A, who's going to come and tell you that it's going to be okay. Whether it's true that it's going to be okay or not, that's another story. But you also need someone to remember when I told you that I'd given up. Besides the therapy, I needed someone to be like, so this is it. And then encourage me to keep going. So there's that encouragement that people give you when you're about to give up. I remember when I was going to get my mastectomy, one of these 2 ladies took me to another survivor and I was like, just tell her your story. I listened and then I was quite ready for a mastectomy afterwards. So support comes in, support as in you feel the love, you feel the warmth, but there's also support that helps you continue with the treatment journey.
So I'll take you back a little bit. We talked about the hair loss. You just mentioned mastectomy.
Yes.
Tell me more. Like.
So I was hoping I wouldn't have to get a mastectomy. That was because I was caught. It was stage 2 when it was caught. My hopes were that I wouldn't have to get a mastectomy. But in order to be as thorough as they could be with the treatment, and also the location of my lump was complicated. There were also 2 lumps. So we went through with the mastectomy. I'm going to spin from human to advocate right now because in the medical space, particularly in state, there's no time to be, talking to patients, encouraging patients. You need to go get on to the next. So throughout the whole entire treatment process, it was never a conversation that I'm going to have a mastectomy. In my head, it was set as something that I'm going to do, but I felt like I didn't have an option. So I just thought I have to get a mastectomy. Until the last treatment session, I met with my favorite oncologist. And she was like, you know that you can think about this, right? And all of a sudden I was like, I have options. Let me think about this, which might not have been the best thing because when I started thinking, I was like, I'm not going to do this. This is too much for me. I went into a dark place because as you're aware, like your body image, who you are as a woman, all of these things are. Yeah. So I went into a very...
They're challenged by cancer.
Exactly. And so I went into this very dark space and I think for about 2 weeks, wouldn't leave my room, wouldn't open windows. I was in there just writing the darkest things. I hope that no one ever sees that journal because it's crazy. The darkest things down. And until my friend came and said, I know a survivor who you can talk to. And she just showed me that life goes on. And life did go on. I never had any issues post-mastectomy. And I think that's because I got the chance to grieve my body changing before mastectomy. Yeah.
And you mentioned that your husband.
Yes.
How does he take it when that route has to be taken?
I think he was okay with, I don't know if he was okay with it or he was okay with it because he had to be okay with it. Because you don't want to be the person who says, don't change your body and then bad things happen. But he was championing for me to get a mastectomy. Even now, because the conversation is, if I find out that I have the gene that carries cancer, then I have to go get the other breast removed. So he's also pushing for that. He's saying it's better that, you go breastless, but you are alive than to have the breasts and not be alive. So he was quite okay with it.
But let's talk about life after cancer. we're here.
We are barely here.
You look good. You made it alive. You're a survivor.
I'm a survivor.
What's life after cancer for you?
Now it's getting real because treatment is easy to go through. Life after cancer is harder than treatment, in my opinion.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Because now everything knocks you down. Chemo sent me into menopause. Remember, I'm 35. All of a sudden, I'm in menopause. My body was just damaged beyond repair. And now I'm trying to get back to being me. So there's also radiation. I think I got like a skin infection around the place where they did the radiation, which then spread all over my body. So with everything else, I didn't mind, like I said, the hair, I wasn't. But my skin, I'm so iffy about my skin. So I had these big lumps and now I had to start getting rid of those, start getting back to people. It was hard. It still is hard. And for me, the hardest part has to be like the mental fatigue and the physical fatigue as well. Yeah.
And how has cancer changed the way you view life?
It's mixed. I'm braver. I know I'm braver. I went skydiving. I'm scared of heights.
Wow.
And I tried to do the Orlando towers before cancer. I went up to
Orlando Towers,
yeah,
Soweto?
Exactly.
Oh, I've done those.
Have you?
I used to be a bungee jump freak. I'd go to Vic Falls, do it a lot. When I did Orlando, it was so scary I've stopped.
Orlando was scarier than Vic Falls.
Because with Vic Falls, you are looking at the water, and the worst thing, if I fall, no, I'll dip in the water. Now with the Orlando Towers, I hadn't processed that if I fall, I'll hit the tower. So from there, I was like, no, well. But
That's
hey,
my story. I went up there and I looked down and I was like, there's no way, take me back down. And this guy is like, sister, I'm from your country. I think he was
oh yes, there's always someone from Zimbabwe.
I'm from your country. Just jump, sister. And I was like,
money. So you get back in the elevator, you come down.
I went back down. And my friend was so pissed because she drove me all the way there. And she's like, all this money you wasted. I was like, no. But during cancer, I managed to skydive. I mean, from being scared of Orlando to skydiving. I'm able to say no more. I'm able to say yes. Like, I feel like I'm just much, much braver. And I have less tolerance for weird stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
But do you still live in the fear of cancer coming back?
Yes, that's definitely something that happens all the time. In the sense that any ache, I had a stomach ache 3 days ago. I was so sure that cancer was back in my stomach. So everything that happens, like whenever you feel something, you're just like, is that not cancer? Is that not cancer? There's that fear, yeah. I don't know if it ever goes away though.
I don't know. I don't know. But I guess the most important part is knowledge of self. To know that you've beat this once. So even if it comes, you know better now. You're a fighter. You'll beat it. But time and again it'll come. I mean, people have had COVID. And post-COVID, people get a flu. They're like, oh my God. Today's the day. Today's the day, yeah. So you can't really rule out that you're never going to think about it like that. But what was the greatest lesson you learned from all of this that you've described?
Human beings are resilient in a way that I think that's the biggest lesson, that we're resilient, not only mentally, but also our bodies. They can adjust to so much and they can come back from so much. I think of how dark my nails were. My nails were black and almost falling off, but now I have normal nails. I think of my hair's grown back out. I think of my skin, it's getting normal. So there are things that you lose, but human beings are incredibly resilient.
And all this is happening outside Zimbabwe, right?
Yeah.
But you're back in Zim now for the past 8 months.
Yeah.
And how do you feel about the Zimbabwean relationship with breast cancer or cancer in general? What is it like and what could be done better?
It's bad. It's bad because every second, third call I get is someone saying that they can't go through with modern medicine. They'd rather go the herb route. And a lot of people would rather go kunganga, because surely cancer can't just happen. Someone must have done something to me. So there is, I think it's still a mystery. Let me pause and it's still a mystery to so many people, even if so many people know about it. So a lot of people know the word cancer, but they don't quite know what it is. Okay, can I tell you? I don't know how to explain it, but I got a call this past week from my cousin. My cousin says my aunt's child is sick. He's got a burn on his leg, but my aunt insists it's cancer. And my cousin's like, how do you know it's cancer? Makamboende pikuno tester asks all these questions. And she's like, Vanu ve cancer, vakandudza uti cancer, but ku hospital varkuti haisi cancer. So the people ve cancer are now the herb people back home who tell you, no, this is cancer, drink this herb, drink that. So in terms of how to get diagnosis, there's not enough information out there. In terms of cancer can be cured, there's not enough information out there. And I think that just makes the relationship really complicated, some people and cancer. With breast cancer, I collaborated with Face of Bulawayo last year during my awareness tour. And they went into the community and were asking women about cancer and were encouraging people to do their self-checks. And the most responses that they got were that people would rather not self-check because what if I lose my breast? What will the community say about me? What will my husband say about me? So I'd rather not know that I have cancer and just let it take its toll.
And I gather that cancer, like road traffic accidents here in our country, is something that people know about, but no one ever thinks it can happen to them. It's one of those, he had an accident. Well, what was he doing? No, it just happened,
Exactly.
The same way. So people spend a lot of time trying to find out how they got the cancer instead of looking forward and getting the treatment. But if you had enough power to do everything you want to do, how would you improve the cancer awareness and the cancer treatment landscape in our country?
I would decentralize awareness because I feel like the conversations, I've never seen more cancer awareness ads and flyers and pamphlets. I've never seen as many as when I was diagnosed, but that's a little too late now. Before diagnosis, I never saw any. So what are these pamphlets doing in a hospital where I'm coming to get cancer treatment, yet they should be out there? So maybe decentralizing the message. Let's also changing how we speak about cancer. The thing is, most people think that cancer is a death sentence, but it really isn't. So if we have more people coming out and saying early detection saves lives, breaking that down to say when you check yourself, then you get the treatment and that will save your life. Yeah, I think that will help. And then from the treatment perspective, I really think private sector has to come play ball as well. Because, I don't know, maybe it makes sense financially. I've never taken a look at their finances, so maybe what they're charging makes sense. But what they're charging is also deterring people from treatment, if that makes sense. Not to go after the private sector. We appreciate them. We need private sector. Okay. But if they can play ball, just, maybe reduce their prices, meet with government, some way, halfway there, they can find each other.
Okay, so there's quite a lot of lobbying that needs to be done.
Quite a lot of lobbying, yeah.
My concerns are about, so maybe about 60 to 70%, if my stats are correct, of Zimbabweans are in the rural areas. And there are people who probably have the lumps, don't know what it is, go to the nearest healthcare facility, and maybe don't get the best. And definitely I can be so sure, as long as they stay in the area they're staying, they might not access chemo.
Yeah.
And what do you think about that?
Yeah, that's incredibly sad because in the absence, I recently met another advocate here, and she's trying to do work in the rural areas. She also had breast cancer, inflammatory breast cancer, but she's trying to do work in the rural areas, and she keeps saying that every time she goes there, people think it's a curse. So her point is, let's test people and tell them that it's cancer so that they don't think that whatever is happening to them is a curse. But the other side of the story is we're testing people, but we're not giving them treatment. It's like telling someone you have cancer and then, oh, bye, enjoy the rest of your life. Then what? Yeah, so it's, that's a conversation I have with myself a lot. But I do believe that if we try and have awareness campaigns there, including topping what is it called when you top up knowledge of the like medical care practitioners there, because I've also heard of a lot of dismissal cases. Someone comes with something and they're like, it couldn't be that bad, you're too young, it's too this, or they just don't refer you there.
Yeah.
So I think also educating literally everyone. But the chemo thing, I don't know. It's cruel for someone to not know what's ailing them, but it's also cruel to tell someone that this is what's happening but we don't have a solution. So I don't know. You'll have to come up with the solution to that.
But recently there was purchase of new cancer machines, which is a great move by the government.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that means a lot of people in public care. I know there was installation in Harare, in Bulawayo, and there's news of installation around the world, around the country, which is going to be quite a great move. But I also think there needs to be a shift in particular vernacular terms. There's this common thing of clinic BP, as if like the BP was at the clinic and you were given, you know? So a lot of people are scared to get tests.
Yeah, true.
There are people who actually in this day and age, Lucia, believe that I will not get tested for HIV. I don't want to know. Like Jonasi lives within us. You know? Yeah, because there are people who believe that I would rather not know than to know and get on treatment, because treatment, makisa or treatment, And I believe it's the same with cancer. Have a conversation with man and say, oh guys, it's breast cancer month, let's go checked. Yeah, no. I would rather not know.
Can I tell you that my siblings, my dad had cancer, I had cancer. My siblings have never been checked. Nothing. I'm like, guys, you're just rolling like that. You don't want to know. They're like, we'll see when it happens.
We'd rather wait for the day and time.
I'm like, but
I know. But looking forward, what gives you hope today? And what are we looking forward in the next chapter of life?
Yeah, a lot of advocacy work. Like you said, the more I advocate, the more I realize that there's so many gaps to be filled. So I really want to push forward with my advocacy work. A lot of creative work. I hope to be able to advocate through storytelling, through creative media, through digital media as well. Spread I'll be so satisfied when, where we are with HIV and AIDS now, even if there are like exceptions. And when we get there with cancer, I will be a happy person, because at least we'll know that a lot of people have the right knowledge and a lot of people are taking the right steps.
Okay. So it's been fantastic talking to you.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's been a pleasure. So, I talked about I'm going to talk about how we met.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I'm scrolling through TikTok and I'm looking for guest number 1. Then the universe makes us meet.
Thank you, universe.
Thank you, universe, and University of ChatGPT and TikTok.
There we go.
But hey, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Where can people get more of your advocacy work? Where can people get help for breast cancer related issues? Give us the information.
All right. Well, mostly social media. If you can find me either on Instagram or TikTok at One Healed Girl. So if you DM me there, I am very active. I will respond. I will assist.
What's your handle again?
At One Healed Girl.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Healed as in you got better.
Yes.
Not.
Can I tell you what it was before? And I was going through things. Okay. Before it was one rogue boob because of the mastectomy. And then I was like, okay, well, you can't. You're old. This can't be your name for long. So
and you needed to have a family-friendly name,
exactly,
which was good.
Because that one wasn't.
But then maybe someone doesn't want to talk to you, but wants help with cancer in Zim. Where can they go?
The Cancer Association is usually a great place to start. They assist with all the information that you need. They assist with where you can actually go and get assistance. If you think that maybe you need to get tested or something, you could also try going to Parerenyatwa. There's a cancer center there. They'll be able to assist you. Yeah.
And that's free of charge, I guess.
I'm not too sure about the costs of consultation.
Yeah.
But I know that to then get the treatment, you have to pay a certain price. I think it's around 150 or so, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Okay. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me.
Hope to hang on next time.
Thank you.